coming up with ideas that might turn into all about books, writers think about different nonfiction topics that are of interest to them. Brainstorming a list of possible categories will help us generate lots of possible ideas. Gene Coppendale and Bobby Cowman wrote 2 nonfiction all-about books on very different topics. Gene wrote about types of vehicles, fire trucks and rescue vehicles, while Bobby wrote about a specific animal, frogs. There are lots of different topics that writers can choose from. Let's look at the covers of our mentor texts to remind us what these authors have chosen to write and teach us about. There are many different nonfiction topics represented in our collection of books. I notice that many fall under certain categories. For example, the category animals, we could say that we have frogs, polar bears, and earthworms as the topics that these authors chose. What other categories can you find? There are many possibilities for your nonfiction all-about books. We are going to use the nonfiction all-about ideas to record the categories and topics that interest you the most. You can write words and or draw pictures to help you generate a few topics you might want to turn into your very own all-about book. Watch as I take some time to think about categories and topics within those categories that I find interesting or that I might want to learn more about. The first thing I did was I wrote down categories, like animals. I think I might be able to pick some animals that I want to know more about. So then I listed dogs, dolphins, and crabs. I moved on to things, wrote down those, hobbies, and then other. Did you notice how when I wrote down the topics, then I took some time to think about what few might be the most interesting to me? One thing to consider is which categories interest you the most and why. Also, one thing to consider is how accessible or easy will it be for you to research some of these topics. I chose my top 3 and circled them in orange. That's going to give me some direction for my next steps. Now, you're going to get a chance to think about some categories and topics that might be interesting for you to do your All About book on. Remember, none of these are set in stone. You can change your mind. This is a time to just put your thoughts down on paper. Have fun.